It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm Angela Yee, and I guess we can say the iconic Rashidi Harper is here with us today.
Why not? Yes,
You've
I
done
am.
some iconic things already.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so first, before we talk about Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, Headliners Only, which is on Netflix on December 12th, tomorrow, I want to talk about your history and how you even got to this point, because I always, when I look at documentaries, it's not easy to get people to feel comfortable enough to want to open up and tell their stories and to trust, the person who is behind the camera. So how do you think that you've been able to relate so well to people that you've worked with, Serena and Venus and Dr. Dre, and you did Hip Hop Uncovered, people who notoriously are like not trying to tell their business?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I've been in this business for a long time. My whole adult life, I've been working in production and directing, from music videos to television, unscripted and scripted. And I've just been around, and because I've been around and I have that experience, I've been on lots of sets with lots of people, and I'm not afraid to ask for what I want, and I communicate with the talent or with the subject that we're talking about what we're after, and a lot of times what I'm after is honesty and good storytelling.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you prefer scripted or unscripted? Because I feel like you really enjoy unscripted.
I do. I prefer whatever is in front of me at any given moment. You know what I mean? I'm not always in control of what happens and how the market changes. So in the last 10 years, I've been doing unscripted and working in the documentary space, because that was kind of part of the transition from film into digital. You know what I mean? I first picked up a camera and started documenting in a real way probably in 2010, when I had the opportunity to go on tour with Earth, Wind and Fire.
Ooh, now those are some legends right there.
Yeah, it's some legends on the resume for sure.
Yeah, what was that like with Earth, Wind and Fire?
It was amazing. It was top tier. It was being able to be around some legends and watch them navigate. I think we went to like 13 different countries or something like that. And being around guys that understand the business and understand how to move, and their whole team was just solid. Like, it was just a team of veterans and a couple of other younger, probably our era cats, like learning and figuring out how things how things work. My man Damian Smith, big manager in LA, he put me into that mix, and we had a great time.
I think they have, I saw them perform one time, right? And when I say it was incredible, and it's interesting to me how performances have changed so much. Like, it's very rare that you'll see, there's people who do it today, but like on the level of an Earth, Wind and Fire, I think sometimes people neglect the importance of having a great stage show.
Yeah, and also the importance of classic records, you know what I mean? Like, they're playing songs that they made in the 70s, you know what I mean? And it's amazing. One of my favorite experiences was being in Seoul, Korea with them and watching the crowd of 20-somethings lose their shit. Like 20-somethings.
Right.
And I was like, how do they even know about Earth, Wind and Fire like that? But they were so passionate about the music. And obviously the band is tight. The songs are classic. They know what they're doing up there on that stage for sure.
What's your favorite Earth, Wind and Fire song after being with them?
Man, Gratitude is one, is definitely a top one. I hate to, man, you caught me out there. I don't want to say September. I don't want to say September, Can't Hide Love, probably.
I like Can't Hide Love.
Can't Hide Love is a real dope record,
All right. Okay, so let's get to, even when you first started, and, early on, I know that I read that at first you wanted to be an actor from when you were like a little
Yeah.
Rashidi, 8 years old.
Yeah. That's how I started. My mother, who is in town for this premiere,
Woo, I know she's like, got him on the right track early.
yeah, she was great. My mom was a single mother and just was super supportive, and I guess when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of TV, and I told her one day, I think I could do that. And she was like, oh, okay. And we had some neighbors, you know, it's LA, right? So at the time, we lived in Hollywood, and we had some young actors that lived next door. And they were always like encouraging her to like really find an agent for me. And I think at some point they helped her find an agency and signed me up. And I started auditioning for commercials. But along the way, my mother was an actress herself. She was a student, a theater student at LA City College. And I used to sit in the back of the theater and watch rehearsals all the time. And I remember the adjustments that were being made. I remember paying close attention to the director, this gentleman named Winston Butler, who I still remember. And I just loved the art of it. And then I started doing it myself, and eventually booked a couple things, couple commercials, came really close to getting on some big series, and just loved it.
Wow. Like what big series did you come close to?
Hill Street Blues was like...
Whoa. Can you imagine?
Hill Street Blues, yeah. It was. I remember everything about it. I auditioned for a very famous casting director named Reuben Cannon, who's Hollywood royalty and on the black side for sure. And I remember everything about that audition. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, me acting tough, you know.
It's dope that you told your mom, I could see myself doing that, and she actually pursued it, because some parents might just be like, okay, let's be more realistic.
Yeah, we weren't even in a situation for her to really focus her energy on that. We were in survival mode, and she found a way. And like most good parents, they find a way. And I'm super, super blessed and always thankful when I think about just our relationship and how she's been supportive to me like every step of the way. It's really been amazing.
And now you have your son on set with you. I saw that he just turned 18. Is that
I have two sons. I've got one that just turned 20.
Oh, he's the one on set.
He was the one on set on this one, and my youngest son, Hayden, 18 and interested in modeling a little bit. We just had a conversation. There's this thing going around on the internet about like AI models.
Oh gosh.
And he kind of was like, "Damn,
I didn't even get a chance to get my feet wet."
I didn't get started. Yeah.
But how did that feel to have your son working with you?
It's amazing. I try to expose them in the same way that I was exposed to things as a kid. So I try to expose them to what I'm up to. I sort of held them back from it for a while because I know a lot of Hollywood kids and like celebrity kids, and it's a tough road for them to grow up and find themselves. So I sort of steered them away from that early and just wanted them to choose it if that's what they want. And it turns out, both of them are in college right now, and each of them might choose to get in entertainment. So, I'm proud of them.
I know, that's exciting. All right, and then it's interesting, too, because when I was watching the Kevin Hart and Chris Rock headliners only, even seeing like that dynamic between Chris Rock and his brother, Tony Rock, he was like, and you have a lot of people who, and we'll talk about this in a second, but even him, when it comes to being related to Chris Rock, it's kind of like a gift and a curse, because sometimes you have to like extra prove yourself because you don't want people to think I just got in the room because this is my dad, and
yeah, Tony was amazing in the film. And I'm sorry,
no, I was just saying, I was talking about like family members in the business. And then with Tony Rock, he said he never asked Chris Rock like he asked him for a favor like maybe a couple of times, and then the one time he was like, I'm gonna ask this one last time. And that was to perform to open up at the Barclays in Brooklyn, where they're from.
Absolutely. I think people want to achieve on their own merit. And sometimes, we all want to feel like we've done it on our own and on our own terms. But everybody needs help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting here today because I did it by myself. I had a lot of help. There's a lot of people that stepped up at one point or another throughout my long career. And I think you use whatever advantages you have. Like I don't think people should, if their parents are famous, they should shy away from it. It's like, man, their parents probably worked really hard to put them in a position to have the opportunities to do whatever it is that they they want to do. That being said, obviously you should be dope at anything.
Yeah, you got
You know
to.
what I mean? You can't be a clown, you know?
And I also saw that, working with Dr. Dre early on, you filmed his daughter's birthday party. But that's a humbling experience, like you said. At that time, did you think, all right, I'm going to do this because I know it could lead to other things? Because in my head, I'm always like, all right, I'm going to go do this. But I know, like, it's a good thing. Perhaps, maybe not. Maybe 10 years from now, you never know what can happen, But that is something to be like, hey, I'm, Rashidi Harper, you want me to film your daughter's birthday?
Yeah, first of all, shout out to Dr. Dre and shout out to Truly. That's his daughter who was having a 10-year-old birthday party. At the time, I'm from LA, right? I've grown up between LA and the Bay Area, but I've spent my whole life in Los Angeles. And so I know Dr. Dre. I've seen him around my whole life in certain circles. And I saw it as an opportunity. We had never worked with each other. Obviously I had bigger ambitions than a birthday party. But at the time, it was like, why not? Why not give it a shot? And what was great about it and very telling about Dr. Dre as a person and as a creative is that he took it very seriously. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He and his wife at the time.
We're not playing about this party.
Yeah, it was like a real job. It was like a real gig. Like he wanted to meet me first. He wanted to see my reel. I was like, he wants to see my reel? Like what? And,
At that point, where were you in your career? Like what were some things under your belt that you...
I mean, I had already, by then, I worked with Snoop. I worked with everybody in the business at that time. I had a long music video career.
I just want to put it in perspective for people listening.
Yeah. So here's what it is, right? Entertainment and life in general sometimes is a roller coaster. Sometimes, you're on a run. Sometimes it gets slow. That's the difference between maybe a 9 to 5, right? Mm-hmm. And at that time, I had already worked with a lot of A-list talent like Dre. And so, sure, my ego was like a little girl's birthday party. Like that just felt wrong to me in some ways. But the reality was at the moment, it was a good move. And sometimes it's about creating relationships.
Right.
And really just putting your best into it. The other thing is I busted my ass on that 10-year-old birthday party. Like I didn't take no shorts. I called my favorite DP. You know what I mean? I brought my team with me and we did it. We did it. It was great. It was at the SLS hotel. You know what I'm saying? And I met, that's the same hotel, wasn't called that at the time, but I met Tupac at that hotel. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's all full circle moments. It's all seizing the opportunities. And like I said earlier about doing what's in front of you, that was the opportunity in front of me and I didn't know where it was going to lead, but it led to not only more work, but like a friendship with Dre that I never really thought would have happened. Like that's my dude. You know what I'm saying?
I just think that's a good lesson to learn for people to sometimes somebody might ask you, but you have to look at what this could, and even if it doesn't lead to more, it is what it is, but there's a lot of things that I do that I'm like, all right, I got, we are going to constantly have to, it's not about sometimes like the biggest project or the biggest paycheck. Sometimes it is about what can come from this one first step.
Yeah, I mean, I like to say it's about the work. I've got a body of work. Like this documentary is not my first thing. It's not my last thing. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very big moment. Something that I'm super proud of, to work with Kevin Hart and Chris Rock. I mean, those are definitely bucket list goals.
Definitely headliners only.
Absolutely, 1,000%. And, Dave Chappelle, I mean, like, I got to like go to Dave Chappelle's city where he lives at and film his interview.
Yellow Springs,
yeah, Ohio. Like I never thought I would be in Yellow Springs, Ohio, like hanging out with Dave Chappelle, But those are some of the perks of it. And in between these big jobs, there's other smaller jobs or less paying jobs or passion projects. And the point is just to keep working. You know?
No, absolutely. And so and you did, before we get to Kevin and Chris Rock, Hip Hop Uncovered.
Yeah.
That felt like a passion project for you too, because it was a different angle. We got to hear from people that normally we don't hear from and hear stories that we've never heard before.
Absolutely. So I have a company called the 51B. and my partners are Malcolm Spellman and Obi Okoye. And that project is the one that like sort of put us on the map together as a unit. Um, Jimmy Chris, who is a Blood from Compton, and Big U, who is a Crip from the Crenshaw district, sort of put this project together. And for me, being from LA and growing up there and seeing all of the negative things with Bloods and Crips that are portrayed, it was fun for me to have both those sides come together and do something extremely positive and extremely valuable for the culture, right? And that is telling our stories. And the angle in Hip Hop Uncovered was looking at how the streets and hip hop are intertwined pretty much forever and why, right? And that was important because I think as the genre has grown and gone global and gone super commercial and become more of a commodity, we just didn't want people to forget that this music and culture and this work and this business that we've built and are all a part of started in our communities. You know what I'm saying? And it started with people that look like us, that struggle like us, and that brought a lot of value, passion, and care to making a way out of no way. And that was what was so fun about making it. And then what I'm proud about is that it wasn't surface level, man. Like, we really get in there and we talk about real situations with real people and street legends and, you know, people that have grown and turned their lives around and become productive citizens along the way, you know?
Yeah, before this started, we talked about Trick, and he definitely showed a different side of himself, you know, on Hip Hop Uncovered. In case people haven't seen it, you can go back and watch that.
Yeah, streaming on Hulu. It's still there. But if you haven't seen it, you should treat yourself and really educate yourself on this music and this culture and some people behind the scenes that don't typically get a lot of credit, which is also why I'm here today. You know,
Right.
like, I'm definitely a behind the scenes person, but we're living in a space where it's like, man, you gotta use the mouthpiece. You got to talk and let people know you're here, or else
Right.
you'll be a footnote.
Sometimes people assume others know their credentials, but you never know. They'll be like, I didn't know he did that, and kind of connecting the dots from all the different things that you've been involved in.
Yeah.
You know. And so now let's get to Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, headliners only. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Like, when it's nothing going on and I have a day off, I will definitely go to the comedy club. You know, Caroline's, which unfortunately is closed here now.
Yeah.
You even had Caroline from Caroline's on here, and a lot of legends went by there. If you're from New York, you know the Comedy Cellar is still a place where all the comedians go to work on material. You never know who's going to pop up there.
Yep.
And so you showcase some legendary spots on here. But even the relationship between Kevin Hart and Chris Rock is kind of like Eddie Murphy helped Chris Rock. And I didn't realize how much he helped Chris Rock. And then Chris Rock really helped Kevin Hart. You know, and I think they realized things about each other and their relationship that the other person didn't know also. So how did this even come about I know the two of them decided to go on tour together, but how did they decide to do a documentary about it?
Well, I first heard about it probably in the spring of 22. I got a call from Kevin's team saying they had seen Hip Hop Uncovered.
Ooh.
And that Kevin and Chris were about to go on tour and they wanted to do something sort of more than a behind the scenes, you know? And we talked with Kevin and his team and Chris and came up with some ideas of themes that we thought could be useful, but mostly we wanted to talk about the New York comedy scene and how it raises a comedian, you know, and it raised a lot of legends out here, you know. And what's interesting about their paths is that they're probably about 15 years apart, you know. And so they grew up on the same comedy scene but in different eras at different times, and still wound up meeting at the top and doing this magical, you know, tour together and show at Madison Square Garden, which everybody knows is sort of a legendary Mecca type of place.
What was interesting to me was because sometimes we feel like, okay, we've seen a lot about Kevin Hart, and as a comedian, he tells a lot about his life on stage. Chris Rock, they tell a lot about their lives, but there were stories that I got to learn from watching this, and you had some really great clips, like Chris Rock's first ever TV appearance on Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
And to hear like the backstory of what happened, because if you're just watching it, you have no idea. Sometimes things don't go the way that you plan.
Yeah, I think what I love about this film and what we were trying to accomplish is that we're used to seeing Kevin and Chris at the top, like they are icons in this space, and rightly so. But sometimes we forget about the story. And
Right.
in this moment, I feel like a lot of people, just because of age or whatever, they don't even really know Chris's story because they didn't live through it. For me, I lived through it. I saw the whole thing, so I was familiar. But it was fun for me to go back and just sort of remind people who Chris Rock is and how he came about, and that no, everything's never perfect. I mean,
Right.
from Chris's situation on the Joan Rivers show to Kevin, landing his first television series. I mean,
broke his heart.
yeah, like things happen. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Things
God.
things happen, and we,
But it encourages us too, because we might feel like, man, this didn't work. Why can't I be? And then you don't see what it took for somebody to get there.
Yes.
So to see, well, it didn't work for him at first either. And he went through a lot. He was on TV, but still, sleeping at home in the same bedroom as your brother. And that's the truth. Sometimes people think you're on TV, that means you're rich. That means you made it.
Yeah.
And it could be the exact opposite. And I think sometimes we also take for granted, like you said, Kevin Hart got he's having a launch party for his first ever television show, and then
it goes left.
Yeah.
So
you got to watch it and see.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but even just to hear how they helped each other, and you had like D.L. Hughley, Kings of Comedy, and how they came together and were able to do something that was huge, that actually benefited each other. And then Chris Rock and Kevin Hart went and did the same type of thing, because it's not too often you see it happens, but not as much as it could.
And definitely it doesn't happen with people at the level of Chris and Kevin.
Right.
I mean, you're in this business, and so that people's teams have to work with each other, and sometimes that can be challenging. It's no different than a tour. When tours happen or when groups break up, long runs are long runs, and I think what we wanted to really show, and what Kevin was insistent upon, was, man, I want to tell a story about not competing all the time,
Right.
about supporting each other, about what does the GOAT really mean? You know what I'm saying? And is there really just one ever? We're such a competitive society that sometimes we get caught up in that part of the race. And I think what was fun about it is seeing Chris and Kevin come together and just be supportive of each other.
They really like each other, it felt like.
Yeah, they're cool with each other, man. Like they're really boys, so it was fun to see that, because I had no idea that they were cool like that.
I hate when people do the one of them has to go. You know how they do those memes on social media, and then they'll put like the top, and they're like, one of them, that's hurtful. One of them has to go.
Yeah.
And there's 6 people, and you got to pick which one iconic person got to go.
Yeah,
and then they're trending, and you're like, damn, people like me.
But that's this society that we live in, like dog eat dog, competitive, like you know what I mean? And some of life is that, but there's also the part of life where it's like, man, let me enjoy this moment. Let me respect others that I respect, and let them know that I respect them, and not try to be too cool and all of those things. You know what I'm saying?
When you're filming people and you're getting them at moments that are behind the scenes, that are vulnerable, like in something like this, where there's certain things they were like, you know what, can we not put that in, or can we take that out? And sometimes those could be like a great moment, and it's like, damn, I don't know if I want to, but I have to respect it. Like, does that happen a lot?
There was nothing specific in this film that was really like that. But I also am dealing with seasoned veterans who know how to talk in front of the camera and tell you what they want to tell you, no matter how much you dig. So I think we made a film that speaks to what they had on their hearts and wanted to say and communicate. And I got some of the things that I wanted to get out as well. So it was a win-win for sure.
Yeah, because this was after the whole slap situation too, and so we see when Chris Rock goes out and does his first stand-up after that, and he's like, "I'm okay."
yeah.
Before anybody asks,
he's great, man. It was great watching him sort of work through that process, but in his work, up on that stage. And again, the film we were making was really not focused on that, but focused on the themes of brotherhood and like what it took to get to this moment that they're both in right now.
And family drama. Imagine being a comedian and you have to deal with your mother passing, or and you still got to get on stage and work through those things. I remember Marlon Wayans, we interviewed him, and he said that they could find humor in anything, even at a funeral. Like, him and his brothers will figure out some jokes to make. But that's not an easy thing for people to push through. Sometimes that is like a Band-Aid over something,
Yeah, and I think the Wayans are a special family when it comes to that.
Because I was like, damn, your dad's funeral, you're making jokes.
Yeah.
There was a joke in there, though, that was, I think they were talking about, because there's so many different legends, but even to hear about, like, Patrice O'Neal, I love Patrice O'Neal.
Patrice. I mean, that's a legend. I mean, there's a lot of legends in this film. A lot of laughs, a lot of
Jerry
heart.
Seinfeld's in here. Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, Wanda Sykes.
Oh my God, I love Wanda Sykes.
Yeah, Bill Burr. Like a lot of great people are involved in the project, and they helped us tell this story of what it's like to be a comedian.
All right. Well, listen, this is on Netflix. Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, headliners only, December 12th. I love to see it, and you guys are going to really enjoy it. I didn't know what to expect from it until I was able to watch it, because you do get to see some jokes, but you get to see the funny interactions between them, but also some really heartfelt moments and the importance of helping put other people on.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what makes you a legend, when it's not just you by yourself, I made it, but when you're able to help create other legends.
It's no fun when you're at the top by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And Rashidi, what else are you working on after this? Because I already know. I saw you, you've been posting some things like, okay, my next...
Yeah, I've got a few projects that I can't really talk about, but one is with Rolling Stone and another is with the New York Times, and that's on the unscripted side. Good things are coming for sure.
All right. Well, thank you. And congratulations on everything, because I know this is not easy to do, but it's great quality work that you've been doing. So we appreciate you for that. And thanks for taking time to come see me.
Thank you. And one time, let me give it up to Angela Yee, as they say in the Bay.
You got to do it. It's way up.
Way up.